right, sir. Look at that. She ain't got nothing but one safety pin holding that thing on.
When Cool Hand Luke hit theaters in 1967, it gave us one of the most iconic anti-heroes of cinema. Lucas Luke Jackson, played by the one and only Paul Newman. But as much as the film is remembered for its rebellious themes, its prison yard camaraderie, and that hard-boiled egg-eating contest, there's one scene that stands out for its sheer audacity and sensuality. The infamous car wash scene, starring Joy Harmon as Lucille. Believe it or not, Harmon almost walked off the set before filming it. But why? Let's dive into the story behind this legendary moment and the fascinating making of Cool Hand Luke. Set in the early 1950s, Cool Hand Luke tells the story of Luke, a decorated World War II veteran who ends up on a Florida chain gang for the petty crime of drunkenly vandalizing parking meters. Luke's defiance of authority, his unbreakable spirit, and his repeated escape attempts make him a symbol of rebellion among the prisoners. As Draglane, the leader of the inmates, played by George Kennedy in an Oscar-winning performance, says, "Luke's a natural-born world shaker." But life on the chain gang isn't just hard labor under the scorching sun. It's a psychological war between the guards, led by the cruel captain, played by Strother Martin, and the prisoners, who take comfort in moments of humor, camaraderie, and even fantasy. That's where Joy Harmon's unforgettable scene comes in. Joy Harmon's role as Lucille, credited simply as the girl, was just 3 minutes long and contained no dialogue. But those 3 minutes left a lasting impression. As the men toil in a ditch under the blazing sun, Lucille appears out of nowhere carrying a radio and a garden hose. She begins washing her car with deliberate, almost playful movements, running the sponge over the car in a way that stops the prisoners and the audience in their tracks. Her character embodies temptation, teasing the men with every squeeze of the sponge. Dragline, in awe of her, names her Lucille, declaring, "Anything so innocent and built like that just gotta be named Lucille?" The men's reactions are genuine, and that's no accident. Director Stuart Rosenberg had deliberately kept the cast's wives and girlfriends away from the set for weeks, ensuring that when Joy Harmon appeared, the actors' awestruck reactions were real. But what makes this scene even more fascinating is the drama behind the scenes. Before filming, the producers suggested that Harmon smoke marijuana to loosen up for the role. Harmon, who had never touched the substance, flatly refused and was so upset by the request that she almost quit. It took a heartfelt apology from Rosenberg, complete with flowers and chocolates, to convince her to stay. The scene itself wasn't as seamless as it looks. Filming it, which was initially scheduled for half a day, stretched into 3 days. Joy Harmon's performance was filmed separately from the chain gang's reactions. For their part, the actors ogled not Harmon, but a stand-in, a teenage cheerleader wearing an overcoat. Yet, Harmon's natural charm and playfulness, combined with Rosenberg's direction, created a moment of pure cinematic magic. Years later, Harmon admitted she didn't realize how suggestive the scene was until she saw it in theaters, saying, "I just thought I was washing a car." The story of Cool Hand Luke started with Don Pierce, an ex-convict who spent 2 years on a Florida chain gang for safecracking. Pierce based Luke on real-life characters he encountered in prison, including one man who once ate 50 boiled eggs on a bet. Pierce sold the film rights to Warner Brothers for $80,000 and even made a cameo as the convict sailor. But he wasn't thrilled with the final product, famously declaring, "They screwed it up 99 different ways." Initially, Jack Lemmon, whose production company co-produced the film, was set to play Luke. However, Lemmon felt Paul Newman was better suited for the role. Newman, intrigued by the project, dove headfirst into preparing for the character. He traveled to West Virginia to study local accents and behaviors, even recording conversations with locals to perfect his performance. The film's production was no small feat. Although set in Florida, Cool Hand Luke was shot in Stockton, California. A southern prison camp was painstakingly recreated, complete with barracks, guard towers, and Spanish moss shipped in from Louisiana. The cast endured grueling conditions to bring authenticity to their roles. In one memorable sequence, the actors actually tarred a mile-long stretch of road for the county. Paul Newman's dedication to his craft shone throughout production. For the scene where Luke plays Plastic Jesus on the banjo, Newman insisted on learning the instrument, delaying filming until he could perform the song himself. When he still struggled, tensions flared between him and Rosenberg. Yet, when Newman finally delivered, it was perfect, raw, emotional, and haunting. Despite Joy Harmon's brief screen time, her performance left an indelible mark. Following the film's release, she became known everywhere as the girl from Cool Hand Luke. Even during her honeymoon in Las Vegas, her hotel comped her stay, introducing her at shows with that title. However, Harmon didn't pursue stardom. She left acting to raise her children and later started a successful bakery business, Aunt Joy's Cakes, which supplies desserts to Hollywood productions. Today, Harmon reflects on her role with a mix of pride and amusement. She still receives fan mail and signs autographs, demonstrating the lasting impact of a scene that took just minutes to film but became part of cinematic history. Throughout Cool Hand Luke, Luke's refusal to conform makes him a hero to his fellow inmates, but it's his cool-headedness and wit that earn him the nickname Cool Hand Luke. The title is rooted in a pivotal scene where Luke bluffs his way to victory in a poker game with a hand worth nothing. As Dragline puts it, nothing. A handful of nothing. You beat 'em with nothing. Just like today when you kept coming back at me with nothing. This nickname encapsulates Luke's essence. A man who thrives under impossible odds, even when the system tries to break him. But the film's most famous line isn't about Luke's nickname. It's Strother Martin's chilling delivery of "What we've got here is failure to communicate." This line became an enduring symbol of rebellion and miscommunication, resonating with audiences long after the credits rolled. 50 years later, Cool Hand Luke remains a masterclass in storytelling, acting, and the power of cinema to capture moments that transcend time. From Paul Newman's magnetic performance to Joy Harmon's unforgettable car wash scene, every frame of this film contributes to its legendary status. What do you think about Joy Harmon's almost walking off the set? Do you think the car wash scene would have had the same impact if she hadn't stayed? Share your thoughts in the comments below. We'd love to hear your take.